The dream of a single market and a huge European market, which is essential, isn't really there yet.
We have sometimes national rules that are driving us in different directions.
How come that the same brands have so widely different prices?
With costs up to $1 million to ensure we comply to the rules and regulations.
Some organizations are not following the European law.
To come to a better European Union, we have to get even closer.
So now we are setting out to fix it. And that's our single market strategy, which we've adopted, and that's the ones that we want to fix with priority now. Why do we need a single market strategy? Why do you have a benefit from a single market strategy? Single market, what's that? Well, that's the space of 27 countries having abolished their borders. That's why you can travel for holiday wherever you want to go. This, however, is not always so true for companies who want to sell services or goods in the single market. And that's why we went around and we asked them, how does the single market work for you? The idea was to listen, because of course you can invent all kinds of nice laws in an office, but they have to fix problems. And for that, you have to understand what the problem is. And the only way to understand that is to ask. Ask companies, ask citizens, and of course we've done large-scale consultations. There's video feedback from consumers, but also from companies almost on a daily basis. And we've taken all of that together and we've identified the 10 worst ones. 10 terrible types of obstacles that companies come across again and again in the single market. So now we are setting out to fix it. And that's our single market strategy, which we've adopted, and that's the ones that we want to fix with priority now.
ASML is one of the largest technology firms in Europe. We manufacture machines which can produce chips at a nanometer scale. So these chips are used for computers, phones and cars, for example. The machine is very complicated with a lot of light sources, mirrors, wafers, and they are never turned off. And that's why they need a 24/7 service. We send our service engineers to our customers. So we have in Europe per year about 5,500 movements of our engineers. The single market barrier that we are facing is related to the Posted Workers Directive. And the goal is to set a level playing field in Europe on employment conditions, avoiding social dumping. But there's an enforcement directive going with it, which requires us to notify authorities when people are traveling to that country and provide services. And this is a really administrative, complex process with costs up to $1 million to ensure we comply to the rules and regulations. And looking at the EU Chip Act, we expect that the travels within Europe will even increase, which means that more notifications might be required. And it's not contributing to the idea that we have one single market.
Billet has been established already 11 years ago, and we are one of the early movers for e-invoicing, for digital invoices in Europe. First of all, you need to establish your business entity on ground. You can't do business cross-border, really, to be honest. You need to work with local people. You need to have your entity in the member state you want to get to, and that's not easy to achieve. So if you want to establish an enterprise, let's say in Germany, you need to do it according to the German law. And as we know, Germany is a federal state. We have 16 different state laws as well. It's more or less an analog state in a digital world. So when we were trying to become member of the e-invoicing association, which exists in Germany 2-3 years ago, we had to send them a fax to apply for membership. I mean, we don't even own a fax, so we had to find a way to do so. And this is a perfect example how different the markets are. There's not really a single market yet. There are 27 different markets, and that's not easy to handle for a small enterprise. I mean, we are working on that for several years now, and we know we need several more to achieve what we want to achieve.
Many consumers, young families, on Saturdays cross the borders, for instance from Luxembourg to Germany, to get personal care, which is much cheaper. If you take washing powder, in Germany it's €10 instead of 18 in Luxembourg. Or if you go from Belgium to northern France, the food and drinks are much less expensive than in Belgium. And therefore, the question arises, why do people take the trouble to cross the borders, and especially how come that the same brands have so widely different prices? Retailers are not allowed to actually buy their goods, essentially fast-moving consumer goods, in the neighboring countries where prices are actually best, cheapest for them, which at the end should also benefit consumers. We are talking about territorial supply constraints. The brandy could say, well, that's normal business. But if that is done unilaterally to segment markets, then there's a problem. Just saying this is normal business is not good enough.
At IKEA, we wish to offer a wide range of well-designed, functional and safe products to a price as affordable as possible for our customers. I think there are many things that work today when it comes to the single market, but there are some things that still needs to improve. For example, products and packaging, but product requirements especially, because we do want to sell the same products across the EU. There is no reason why we should have different products, why this shark should be different in the 27 member states. The problem is that we have sometimes national rules that are driving us in different directions. So, for example, giving different definition of certain qualities of the product. If we need to talk about recycled content, for example, saying how recycled content should be measured, it's different in one member state and the other, but at the end of the day, the product is the same. Sometimes underestimated how such a small things like this can have a big impact for a company. Because of national legislations, we need to have 5 different symbols to support our customer. By having one clear symbol in black and white here, we can reduce cost, we can be more sustainable, and we can help our customer doing the right things.
So I studied architecture in Barcelona, worked several years as an architect, and then I came to Brussels to do a PhD.
I made my studies in Seville, and I started to work in Seville. I was working for 5 years, and in 2013 I decided to move to Brussels.
So I had some issues to validate my title of architect to work in the public sector.
In Spain, you finish your studies, you are already an architect.
The officer who was in charge to present my dossier, he refused to present it because I didn't have a written dissertation.
Quickly, I have a lot of interviews, and the work was there. And they said to me, you must do the internship. You have 2 years of internship. That was the first problem.
Even if it's absurd, I had to produce some texts to support my plans, my drawings, my work.
I sent to them the law. They said directly, you are already in the association without problems.
All this process took about 10 months, like 6-7 months of exchanges of emails. I think every country has their own rules.
An architect who studied in Belgium or in Italy or in France, this diploma must be the same.